Should we try again?
Yeah, let's go. Welcome into the Ponder Podcast. This is the first show, or actually the podcast number 0. And this is the preliminary podcast just to explain, well, who are we and what do we want to do with the podcast. But first, a disclaimer. We're not so experienced at English. We haven't been speaking it for a long time. Just a quick backstory about us. We used to go to an English school when we were in, what do you call that in an English term? Like in public school?
Yeah, just this, for English people, it's the secondary, primary school.
Yeah.
And I think for people living in the US, it's like middle school, kind of.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So middle school, secondary school, we used to go to an English school. So we used to speak English
Yes.
every day. We don't do that anymore.
So we're kind of rusty with the whole...
But please forgive us. We'll do our best.
Yes.
But that aside, let's just explain and go into the first segment about who are we and why do we want to make this podcast. So firstly, my name is Sebastian.
And my name is Matthias.
So I'm from Denmark and I've lived here my whole life. So I also went to another school where we talked Danish before that. I like psychology and philosophy. That is why this podcast is very interesting for me, because I really want to have a place to talk about these things and get it out. Like really have a place to, well, just voice my opinion on what I've been learning and what I've been hearing, especially on other podcasts that I listen to or videos on YouTube I find. So I just want to have a place to really voice that. I have a place to just put it out there. That's important for me. But also I like music. I happen to play the piano and I started it actually quite recently. Like usually when you start playing an instrument, you start from a very young age. But I started about 2 years ago when I was 16. So yeah, it's quite new for me, but I really enjoy it. So I definitely will keep going for it. And well, Matthias, you can explain just a few quick tips about your hobbies.
Well, yeah,
what you do.
A little bit of background. Well, I live in Denmark currently, but I was born in Hong Kong, where I lived for the first 10 years of my life. So it's always been a big part of my childhood, and it's where I grew up. So a couple of like 6 years ago, I moved to Denmark, which is where I'm like natively from. Both my parents are Danish. They just decided to move to Hong Kong. But well, during the past 5 years or something, I've been focusing on piano playing, motivation and habits, and well, reading generally, just like Sebastian. And I think we both found some interests in musical playing and just the whole psychological and theoretical part of life, I guess.
Yeah, just generally we share a lot of hobbies like that. That's also kind of how we just found each other and became very good friends at the international school. And we want to have a place not to just talk about it ourselves, but also...
just to connect with people, like-minded people.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Because we just don't know that many other people who are like us here or who want to listen to something like this or talk about it.
Yeah.
So we want to...
Yeah, it's always fun to just talk about it to ourselves, but voicing it out and formulating in something that we can sort of present is different and can actually help with cementing the things we both believe in. Yeah.
Precisely. And it's just very helpful because first of all, we might just be completely wrong about what we think. And if we are, just please tell us. Just comment in the video, text us on some social media, do anything to get a hold of us. But also, we might be right about it and you might have something cool to think about tomorrow then, which would be awesome.
And we always appreciate your opinions. I mean,
yeah, precisely.
Even
That's
if you
what
don't
this
agree,
is for.
yeah.
Like, please do write us or comment or anything about your opinions about this. But yeah, that's kind of the first goal of the podcast.
Yes.
Just get these important discussions out there. And the second goal is more of a goal for us, but that is to practice our articulation and speech in English specifically. Because we just are quite rusty in it, and it would just be good for us to practice it. And
Yeah.
it would just be great.
Yeah, articulation is incredibly important. I think we both agree on that.
Yeah.
Something that we'll probably come in on that later, but Jordan Peterson is someone we both adore, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we look up to him. I definitely do. I listen to him so much, and just his ability to perform on stage and just speak and wing the whole conversation with the crowd.
Crazy.
It's absolutely crazy, and it's astonishing to me how he can do it. But he's just practiced speaking and being comfortable on stage for so many years now. And he has such a bank of knowledge that he can just, use on stage and use in conversation.
Yeah, just arguing like responsibly. He doesn't go crazy and go totally bananas when arguing with people, but he likes to listen to people's opinions and tries to express his in a way that is amazing.
Yeah, he's a real force to be reckoned with when it comes to that. And it's also by his suggestion that we're doing something like this, because he tells people that you should go out and challenge yourself and do something meaningful.
Yeah.
And that's what we hope this will turn into in the long run. So yeah, that's briefly what we want to do with the podcast and who we are. So the last segment of this podcast, the introductory episode, is just the practical information about the podcast. So when we'll be posting topics and feedback about the podcast. So when will we post? We're thinking we'll be posting once a week or once every second week.
Yeah,
depends
roughly
on
there.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever
Depends
we
on,
meet up and
when we meet up, how the times just collide and manage to line up and stuff like that. Could be more, could be less.
Yes.
But we will try to stick to doing it frequently. Topics could range from many things that are just worth talking about. I have been looking up habits and how to form them and how to get rid of the bad ones. Just how to manage that whole area in general. But I think we might be doing a talk about that for the next few episodes.
We have a long list of things we can tap into. So we're very excited.
To get into some of the topics. But if you have any topics that you'd like us to talk about or anything of the sorts, just text us or comment on the videos. We'll include information on how to get a hold of us.
Yes,
for sure, in the comments.
We will.
So just get a hold of us and we'll definitely consider any interesting topics you bring up. Definitely,
yeah.
And the last point on the list is feedback. So that pretty much ties into what we talked about just before. Yeah. If you have anything, just get a hold of us. Yeah. We'll include all the information.
Yeah, there'll be a link somewhere.
Yeah, in the description. Yeah,
in the description somewhere. Yeah,
for sure. And that's pretty much all we have for this one. But in courtesy of another podcast that I'm watching, I have included a sign-off segment for each video. And that is a sign-off segment. And that is pretty much just when we talk about something that is important or present in our lives at this moment. So generally in a video, we will talk about what the video is about, the topic of the video. Then the sign-off segment, we'll just talk about something random we have on our mind right now.
Sure.
I have not prepared a sign-off segment for this video though. But just for fun, we could talk about, we've been watching the Cimarellis. I think they're quite good. It's been quite fun watching them, and I think I've been thinking a lot about God because of them recently. Jordan Peterson, he brings it up in a lot of his talks actually. But he really puts a focus on it in his biblical lectures, and I really adore those. I mean, he just completely changed my view of God, and I think we might do a video later on God and
just religion and I think just the rules or the guidelines that have been set. Sort of through religion.
Precisely. And what exactly it is. I don't really know how to explain it right now.
Yeah,
it's
but
really
yeah,
hard,
it's kind of
difficult
hard
topic to
sum
get
up,
into.
but something that can be explained in a very long period of time.
Yeah, so it might be an episode we'll make later, or like a series of episodes. But that is definitely something that we'll look into at some point. But I've been listening to the Cimarellis, and they're also religious, so they've just been reminding me of, well, the importance of God in a society that's, well, leaning away from gods, or, well, the idea of a god. And I think, when I was a kid, like much younger than I am now, not that much, but a little younger, I was very, well, you could say godless. I did not believe in a god at all. And I've been turning around on it in some way, and I don't know what I think yet, but I know it's definitely not the same as 4 years ago. It's not. I'm not certain that believing there is no God is a good thing, but I don't know what the answer is, really. It's so difficult to fathom the whole texture of the situation. But that is a topic for another video at some point. So that is all for now. We'll be signing off for real now. So take care.
First sign off.
Yes, goodbye.